All right, so this is Saddleborn Podcast. I am Sadie Schick, and today we are here with Kari Brough. So Kari is a ranch wife from over in Clover Valley, right?
Yes.
And they have Brough Beef, or Brough Ranch. What do you call it?
Brough Ranch Beef is the name of the business, but we're also known as Brough Ranch. Brough Ranch is the beef people.
Yeah.
Or Brough.
Okay, my dad says bro all the time. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Brough.
Just Brough. Rough, tough, and Brough is what I tell people.
Yeah, perfect. So today we're going to kind of get started. What got you into farm-to-table beef?
So Jordan and I were married in 2011, and we moved back to the ranch in 2015. My father and mother-in-law knew the importance of making a ranch belong to you and having that ownership. And so they suggested to me to find something that would help me feel like this is home. Because we do. We live out in the middle of, I can't say nowhere anymore because I've been to, what is it? Out by Tuscarora area. Yeah. And so now I feel like we're not so much in the middle of nowhere, but all my family from Utah and around, they think we are out in the middle of nowhere. And so Sherry and Wildy suggested I started to sell direct to consumer. The college put on a Face Your Food event, and so that was our first event to go to, and we just set up and we were just selling wholes and halves, and we got a few orders from that, and from there on we just kind of kept growing and changing and evolving into who we are today.
So when you got started with that, did you transition then to the Wagyu, or did you already have them kind of going?
So Wildy back in probably 93 had a decision. He was looking for a cattle that would bring a lower birth rate for Cabinese, right? And he was faced with two options, either a Jersey cow or a Wagyu. And at the time it cost 10 cents he would lose 10 cents if he had a Jersey mix, and he'd get 10 cents more for a Wagyu mix. So they decided to go that way. And also he had heard about the marbling and all of that comes along with it. And so that was kind of born way before Jordan and I were even a thought of, starting the business.
That's so crazy. So he already had that kind of going.
Yes. And
then you come along and I'm going to do farm to table. How cool.
Yeah. So it worked out really well. So we just started, like I said, selling halves, wholes, and quarters of beef of the Wagyu and the Angus. And then as we've gone along, Jordan and I have pivoted from a low calving ease for our DNA and started selecting for more of marbling.
When did that focus kind of shift?
Probably a year or so. We started for Wagyu to be considered like American Wagyu. It just needed to be 50% blood, 50 Angus, 50 Wagyu. So that's what we kind of started with. And then we have grown our genetics. We do have full blood animals on the ranch, but the stuff that we sell in the market is more of like an 80-10, or excuse me, 80-20.
Yeah.
Let's fix that math there.
Yeah.
And so now we're seeing more marbling. We're even getting to the point where our butcher is saying we have too much Wagyu genetics in there. Especially in the ground beef, we see that problem. It's called smear. It tastes wonderful, but it's kind of a sticky and it doesn't set up like a regular burger would because there's just too much fat in there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you kind of transitioned that. I went and stalked your website and everything. It looks like you sell like individual cuts also.
Yes. So we started that probably a year after we started. When we started, there were some challenges, definitely some challenges we faced. Mostly that no one really knew what the regulations or laws were. And there wasn't an easy place to go to and like do the checklist, right?
Yeah.
And so we jumped around between the USDA and the food and
FSIS.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one could give us a good answer of, yes, did we need a food handler's permit? No, we didn't. Did our beef need to be stored at a safe kitchen? All these different questions that one person would say yes and another one would say no. And we finally kind of got an idea of what we really needed. And so from there, we knew that we had to have a USDA stamp on there
to be able to sell direct to the consumer.
Yep, in the pieces. So I can sell a full or half or quarter beef to you without that USDA stamp.
Okay.
Because we sell it on the hoof is what it's called. To sell the pieces or to sell to restaurants or across interstate lines, we have to have that USDA stamp. to certify us to do that.
Okay, and so it sounds like there was just not great continuity between these regulating bodies, right? A little bit. So that's definitely an obstacle. And then it's hard, something I've noticed, like your general family in town probably can't always afford to buy a whole or a half, right?
Yeah, not only affordability, but space.
Oh, yes.
Freezer space is a big thing for people. But there are a lot of people in town that just have, your fridge freezer combo, and so buying a full half and quarter beef isn't a plausible option.
Yeah.
So we started splitting that up, and where you can buy the steaks 2 per package, you could buy a single pound of hamburger if you wanted to, and that opened up a whole new door for us.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. So I've seen, do you ship to people as well, since you have that USDA stamp?
We do.
Oh, okay.
So we have shipped, we're probably at 45 different states right now.
Oh, wow.
We just, we're sending out our first shipment to Alaska, which was really big.
Yeah.
And I have 2 shipments going this Christmas to Hawaii, which last year we also shipped to Hawaii. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's a challenge in all of itself also.
Yeah. Do you have to, when you're going to ship it, do you have to kind of plan like, oh, it's going to be this many days, or we have to expedite it somehow?
Oh, yes. So that was a process, because even if you put 2 days shipping, if you don't ship on a Monday or Tuesday, you're not guaranteed to get it there in 2 days on the weekend, by the weekend.
Not for our location either, right?
No, for sure. And so we had great people at UPS that Christy especially, and Wes, I want to shout out to them because they helped us so much. When we first started shipping, we would go in, they would weigh it, then they were like, oh, did you know you can create an account? And so we started a business account, but then they would charge extras, and they just help us get down to the lowest possible
shipping
point for shipping, helped with all the things that we didn't know. Like, you better put a sticker that says, this item contains dry ice if you're doing anything 2 to 3 day shipping.
Really?
Because if it gets on that airplane, the FAA calls, and it can be up to a $50,000 fine.
Whoa, okay. Yes. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. So tips for anyone who's looking, make sure that sticker is on there labeled nicely.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Why? Is it because it starts smoking?
Yeah, so it's a flammable, or not flammable, but it is it's liquid nitrogen, frozen liquid nitrogen. So it's just one of those products that have been marked as, it needs to be, it can come on in small quantities, and that's why you have to have that sticker on there. Other than that, you have to do some training and get lots of stuff. We actually learned the hard way on that one, because I thought 3 day shipping was ground. And it was, it's air. So,
oopsies.
Yeah. So, but luckily they gave us a pass because we didn't know. And
we're new here.
And then ever since then, we've, on every box, it doesn't matter if it's going ground or in the air, we put a sticker on there just in case.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have to learn everything the hard way too. So
that's what it's about, right?
Really drives that lesson home sometimes.
We never forget those lessons though either.
Yeah, exactly. So you got that started, and then let's just reel back just a little bit, and I want to hear about your background, because I know Brough's is a multi-generation ranch. They've been in Clover Valley for a while. How'd you fall into cattle?
Well, so I grew up on a dry farm in northern Utah.
Okay.
He was a 3rd generation farmer, and we did hay and alfalfa and safflower, and so I kind of always knew that I wanted an ag future. I didn't know if that was something. Cattle wasn't the exact answer that I thought I was going for, but it worked out really good. Yeah. So I was involved in FFA growing up and 4-H and all those things. Went to Utah State University. Actually started out at Snow College wanting to be a veterinarian. And then I had a bad experience with castrating pigs on a hot day. And so I thought, oh, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I'm out.
Tapped out, went into aviation. So I really never thought I'd be here. I always thought I'd be, somewhere in the city. But Jordan and I met in 2000 and at Utah State University. We got married really quick, 6 months.
Oh, wow. I think
From
when you know, you know.
When God tells you it's the right thing, you just got to listen sometimes. It's been good. I've really enjoyed, there's also always a transition.
Yeah.
Because we were still going to school, and then we'd come back in the summer and work until we graduated. And so that always coming back and forth was a transition, but it's been a really good, I enjoy the horses and cattle and everything that comes with being a cattle rancher, and not so much the long, strenuous days on a tractor back and forth.
Yeah. It kind of mixes it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Did you raise livestock then when you were a kid?
I got to queen 1 year. I had a horse. Then my dad looked at me, and I'm the youngest of 6 children.
Oh, gotcha.
And he looked at me and goes, "We're done with this horse crap. We're going to we're going to go on vacation." So we did a lot of traveling. I didn't do so much animal raising or anything like that, but did do the farm work with my dad, change sprinklers, and my SAE was a little plot of land that he let me have, and it was great. Definitely the work ethic that comes with being a dry farmer translates into being a rancher. The big difference that I feel like between the two is that ranching is 12 months.
Yes.
Instead of just, during the summertime.
Yeah. I always think of it as like we have our seasons. So like we've got calving in the spring, then we've got farming all summer, and then we've got, now we bring cows back, we check them out, and then we have like a little break right in the winter before we start feeding again. right
before they calve out again.
Yep, and then we're just feeding cows. So so it's very seasonal like that, but it keeps you on your toes.
It does.
For sure.
It keeps us young, or maybe old.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one, but we'll be optimists.
Right.
So then you marry Jordan, you move to Clover Valley, you start your farm to table business. We've talked about some of your obstacles. Let's go back to obstacles a little bit.
Okay.
You said as far as the permitting and everything like that, there were some obstacles just kind of finding out what you needed, right?
Right.
Now that you're getting where you can sell direct to consumer, has it been hard finding a USDA facility? Is that another...
So pre-2020, it was very easy to find a USDA facility that could take us. The problem was the quality of that USDA stamp. Because just because they have the USDA stamp still doesn't mean that they're going to give you a quality product.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So we have been with Tires Meats out of Lewiston, Utah since the beginning. It's someplace my family had used way before I even thought about doing beef, and they cover the county fairs in Box Elder and Cache County. Okay. And so my dad always would buy a 4-H animal or an FFA animal, and that's what we would eat throughout the year. And so, but we were also trying to find something closer because it is about 4 hours away from our house. So we went around and we have tried so many different USDA inspected places and even non-USDA, because if we sell the wholes, half and quarter, we can have that exemption. But what we have found is that you just have to really have a good relationship with them. We had one nickeled and dimed us for stickers, and so we had our own label on a package. So he charged us 10 cents for that, and then he charged us another 10 cents for a pound, like how much pound weight was in the package, and then another 10 cents for his sticker. So he was charging me an extra 30 cents per package for our packaging. We also had one that, unfortunately, we took 2 Wagyu. We had just made a deal with in Elko to be in their restaurant, and we had taken 2 full beef, and we were going to bring one back and get it shipped to them, and everything came back freezer burned. Completely freezer burned. Not a single piece didn't have it on them. And my dad had picked it up on his way out to visit us. He didn't pay, and I called them like 4 or 5 times, and I think they knew what they did was wrong and were just afraid to answer. And so, I mean, things like that, packaging, how they package it, the way that Tires does it for us, we just find it to fit really well. They're very good at the attention to detail. Of course, you're going to have a freezer burn package here and there, but it is very minimal for us. So, and just, you can have Krylovac, you can have the paper and plastic if you wanted, but the stuff you'll see on our shelves and coming from our online store is that Krylovac sealed, and they do a wonderful job for us.
Gotcha. So with the labeling, do you have control over everything that's being put on the label, or is that kind of up to the USDA facility? So
there are certain things that they require to have on your label, and that was an eye-opener for me when we first started. On your label, there are certain terms you can and cannot use without having a full investigation from the USDA to support that claim. Some things like grass-fed or free range or grown in Clover Valley. Those type of things would have to have proof behind them.
Oh, okay. And do you have to submit that proof to like some sort of agency, or is it just documentation from home?
So when we were doing our label, we had to get them approved by the USDA inspector at Tires. She went through them and made sure everything was in its place. There was no extra things. And I don't know if she, and that's something I'll have to ask her, if every time they come in that they look at those labels before they go on. We've used the same labels since the first. The only thing that's changed on ours is color and our logo being changed, because we just keep it very simple so that we don't have to have that extra time into it. So if we were to, for example, if we were to say Wagyu, we would have to have the government come in. They would have to see our records of that animal, its bloodlines, and we have to keep track of it, which isn't hard because it's something we do anyway as ranchers, is keeping track of bloodlines and, you know, hoof sires and everything like that. But then when we went to take to the butcher, we couldn't take Angus and Wagyu together. We would have had to take just Wagyu, so that we knew for 100% sure that didn't get mixed up at the butcher, and when it made it back, same thing. We couldn't pick up Angus and Wagyu at the same time. Even how we stored it would have to be separate. And so we kind of skirted around that in a way. And so when you order from us, you will see black labels and blue labels.
Gotcha.
And so that's how we tell the difference of what is what.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our black labels are our Wagyu, and our blue labels are for our Angus.
Oh, okay. So then you can keep it kind of separate, and you have a good relationship with your butcher, so they're able to kind of work with you on that to make sure it's correctly where it's supposed to be.
And so and with every cutting instruction that I send, I make sure I write which color goes to what animal.
Yes.
And we also take the tag numbers so that they can easily know that, hey, this is a Wagyu, this is where it belongs to, and I assign that to the people who I have on my list.
Oh, okay.
So if you were to buy a half Wagyu from me, when I take that to the butcher, your name is already assigned to an animal.
Gotcha.
So it's not I guess this person can have this one, or you know. So we want you to get what you pay for.
Yes. So do you stay with the same butcher even if they're buying it on the hoof?
So we do now. Like I said, in 2020, things kind of got sticky.
Yeah.
Because the shortage of beef. And so a lot of people left shopping at the grocery store because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And came and found a farmer and rancher. So we saw a more difficult time finding a butcher, even if it wasn't USDA, to butcher our animals. We were pretty lucky because our butcher lets us book out 2 years in advance. And so we did have those cut dates.
Oh, good.
Our problem during 2020 was more, how can we get more? We had the cattle.
Yeah.
They were ready to go. We just needed to find a butcher for them. And so that's kind of where we kind of floated around. We always kept Tires meats. And because of their quality and because we know what we're going to get when we take it to them. But we did jump around. We were trying to fill in those spots. We were trying to get as many people that wanted it, their beef. And so that's where we kind of fell into, you know, the people nickel and diming us or not being as high quality. And we would keep that Tires meats mostly just for our USDA stamped, so things that we could sell in pieces. And then we would let the other ones be in the non-USDA ones, the wholes, halves, and quarters.
Yeah, just to get the product out.
Right.
So, okay, let's go. And I wanted to really ask you about MCOOL. So, mandatory country of origin labeling is something that's kind of been a buzzword, hot topic right now. I've been going down many little rabbit holes with it and trying to find out, like, see both sides of it, really, before making a decision, like, am I for this or am I against it? As of right now, I'm kind of for it, but I did see an argument where they said if we mandate that we make it mandatory that people have to label the country of origin of their beef, it would negatively impact people who have invested in traceability. So it got me thinking, would that impact someone who does like a farm to table? Because now we know all of the beef will know where the country is in town, and that's kind of I noticed it's kind of a marketing thing that a lot of farm to table do, is you're buying locally sourced meat, right?
Right.
And so that kind of gives you the edge above going to the supermarket. So I just wanted to hear if you had any thoughts on that.
I don't really think it's going to. Now, we're in a day and age where everyone in the state of Nevada has to have a traceability tag, right? That bangs tag that they get is a button that's you can't remove anymore, right?
So they've already made it kind of generic with the traceability, right?
So you can't cross the state line without that button, whether it's heifers or steers or whatever type of cattle that you've got. You have to have that button to be able to. I think why it's not going to really affect us is because we are not just selling American beef. We're selling Brough Ranch beef.
Yes, you have your own brand.
Yes, we have our own name. And people that come to us, they not only want to know that their beef is from America, but they want to know the person who raised it. They have the ability to come out to our ranch and see firsthand where our cattle graze. They can come out and they can see these people that are buying from us. They want to know that they are getting the freshest, they are getting quality, they are getting something that is not that they can't get in the store. And so I think the MCool is a great thing. I think people need, when you're at a grocery store, you should be able to look at your beef and see that this comes from America, or this comes from Brazil or Argentina or Mexico, wherever that beef is from. So because we have different standards of raising our animal. But I also think that when you come to someone like us, a direct to consumer, you are getting even more out of it because you're getting the family that's raising it. You're getting to know us personally. We're going to be there at the drop off. We're going to be there right along the way if you have meetings with your cutting instructions or whatever it is. And so I really don't see it affecting us negatively. I think it will only help us because then we get to say on our labels without having to prove it that we are U.S. meat. Like we are there already. So here's just another stamp on our label saying, yes, here we are.
What about, have you paid any attention to the Tyson plant getting closed?
Yes.
Give me your thoughts.
But you're going to think I'm crazy because I'm kind of a conspiracy theory on that.
Where's my tinfoil hat? I'm ready.
I think it's a cover-up.
Do you? So they've done it once before, right? During COVID with the fire?
Yes. I think they're hiding something because the big four are owned by out of country companies.
Multinational, and I mean, two of them are for sure Brazilian, and if they control 85% of our beef coming in, we can just infer, I don't know if this number is perfect, but 40% of our food supply is being controlled from not Americans. Right.
And to me, it's just, Trump said that they were going to start to investigate. To me, it's too close. And now this is Kari Brough, not Brough Ranch beef. This is Kari Brough talking. I think they're covering up. I think they might have something there that maybe they're trying to close down, whether they've got their agreements there with the other companies or the price gouging. There's such a disconnect in between, and this is in any commodity. What the farmer gets to what you have to pay in the grocery store, there's a huge difference there. And I just think it conspiracy theorist here.
I'm with you a little bit on the conspiracy. We reserve the right to change our mind as information comes out, but right now it looks a little fishy.
It does.
So we've talked about MCool. We've talked about kind of what's influencing the price of beef. The one thing that I have noticed is I think there's been a huge push lately, and maybe you can tell us if you've noticed it too, but I think people want to come to their local consumer more than anything.
Definitely. Wind back to 2020, COVID hit, and Costco was out of beef on their Costco was out of beef on their store shelves. We were sitting on 2,000 pounds of ground beef, wondering what are we going to do with this? Because at the time we didn't have our jerky line. We had just started our jerky, but you can't. The way we cut our jerky, you can't use ground beef, and so we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with 2,000 pounds of ground beef. And then this hit. And we were just, I don't know if you call it luck, you call it just good timing.
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
A gift from God, whatever it is. We were able to sell that 2,000 pounds of ground beef within a day and a half.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And then we went a full year where we sold out within 15 minutes of being online.
Oh, wow.
And we were booked out with other people, really started coming back. I saw the trend start there of finding your local butcher, finding your local producer and buying local beef. And we just happened to be in a spot where we were already set up. We already had established our butcher. We established our online presence. So it was an easy transition for us of going into
upping the product a little more.
And making sure that we're able to supply that to those who wanted it. So,
well, I've noticed just like mom friends that I've had on the internet, like, or just here in town, like they're paying attention to the labels and they're wanting to know what's in their food.
Yes.
And beef's part of that. And so I think it really has made a huge push towards we want to know who it's coming from.
Right. And not only that, you're going to get a taste that is far superior to what you're going to get in the grocery store. I don't want to diss beef in the grocery store because that also comes from hardworking American ranchers.
Yeah, and it's accessible, like the accessibility.
But we go back to that. I would like to have a label saying.
I'd just like to know what it is.
So that you guys can go to the grocery store and buy in confidence. Yeah. You're still getting a animal that's raised with the same quality and care of those that surround you.
And you're paying for that.
Yes.
Because right now you're paying the same price for something that came over the border with less inspection, not the same standards that we have in our country.
Right.
But you're paying the same price for it because you just don't know the difference. Yeah, I have noticed that too. So if we this isn't really walking back too far, but we kind of live in a unique area. We don't have a lot of like farming around here. If it's farming, it's hay. Right?
Hay, yep, so, some hoop houses, but not too much other.
So was it difficult for you to source in like grain to finish in, or are you grass finishing? What are you guys doing?
So we do, I kind of get a chuckle out of this, and I think agriculture people will. We do what is called a grass fed with a free choice grain finish.
Oh, okay.
And we do that because people pay attention to that label. We see a lot of people that come up and just say they want grass fed. Because it's a niche word, right?
Yeah.
It's a pop culture word right now. Grass fed is better. Grass fed this, grass fed that. Well, we find that we enjoy the flavor and the marbling that comes from a grass fed with a grain finish. But when you say grain finish, people get a negative connotation in their mind that it's only had been in a feedlot with no grass and no water, and that's not. The majority of beef is spent out on the pasture eating that grass. Yeah. And then in our production, what we do is we bring them into what we call our feedlot, but it is rotated throughout, and there's grass on the ground still. They're still getting grass, but I have never known a cow to turn down grain. It's like their chocolate cake, right? They're gonna eat it. And it does it. It produces a better flavor. That fat changes from yellow to white. And you get what beef should taste like, especially in this area. Yeah. So that's what we do. And again, it comes down to just trying to get people to see it in a different light, because grain fed was seen as negative for a long time. And so I'm trying to get that out of people's mind, is that that grass-fed beef is the only good beef. Now, I'm not dissing it, but there's other ranchers out there. If you want to do it, we prefer it this way.
Yeah. Interesting. So is it difficult to get in the grains that you need? You are kind of like on a crossroads between Idaho and Utah.
So we've gone back and forth between two different suppliers. We do like the brewer's grain the best, and which is what's left over after brewing beer.
Oh yeah.
So it's neat because it's a second use for that product. But we've used Neff Mill, who have been great for us, and then also a company out of Idaho, depending on the price, because again, whatever we put into our animal, that output comes back into the price in price of the product.
So they had talked about once upon a time there was going to be a USDA facility come into Elko. Did you ever hear about that?
Yes, and I think it's still skirting around, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not so much a packer, but a kill facility.
I think so. Like, as far as cost, and I know you already have a great relationship with the other one, but would that make your operation a little more feasible if you did have access to something closer?
Yeah, so I think we'll always continue our relationship with Tires Beef on the USDA side. We have also talked about being vertically integrated from from start to finish. But what this would do for us would open up the opportunity to have a USDA inspected processor or kill, and then we could have our own beef market or our own shop here locally. We would love to have that start to finish with the control over it. I think that's like the hardest part for me is putting my beef into someone else's hand and then coming back with a subpar product. Because we put a lot of effort into how we raise it, animal husbandry skills, the traditions that have been passed down through generations and generations of Brough Ranch owners. That hard work goes into each beef that we produce. And so to be able to have that as another opportunity to open up more to our local community would be amazing. So that we could still have that direct to consumer. We could have something else in Elko County, because really there's not a place you could go up, get a fresh piece of beef and take home that hasn't been through a processor outside of the state of Nevada. The biggest thing, again, falls with that USDA seal. And so we couldn't sell to a restaurant unless it had that USDA seal. They do have, the state of Nevada has saying that, you know, if they had a state inspected, that you would be okay. But there is not a state inspected butcher in the state of Nevada right now at this point.
So that'll be something they're going to have to roll out if they're going to actually follow up with it, right? And so I saw there was an article that came out November, I think 25th or something like that. And it said that Nevada is now approved to be part of this state inspection. And what it would do is allow state inspected facilities to be able to sell in-state beef directly to consumer.
Which would be wonderful, and I think it's a great way to go.
If we can do that and take it out of the federal level, because the hoops that you have to jump through to be USDA inspected, you have to have a full-time inspector there. And as I'm like kind of going down this, I could be wrong on it, but it seems like having that USDA inspector, obviously they work like a 9 to 5, so it kind of limits like when you could be open for your processing plant. Like there are no night shifts. You're not going to have a night shift inspector there.
Something that I've learned also throughout our time is that each inspector has a different way of doing things, and they rotate. So if a new inspector comes in and says, oh, your wall plugs are in the wrong spot, you've got to spend all that money to change them before you can produce beef again. So there's a lot that goes into having a USDA inspector.
I think I also read they have to have their own like office area with their own bathroom provided, and they'd make some exceptions, but I'm sure that that's hard to get through.
And trying to get one out in this area might be a little bit difficult because I mean, it's a great place to live, but it could be hard to get someone to do that.
Absolutely. And then I did also see, so for the state inspector, it looks like what they're going to do is it might be a little more on a, like they need to be there for kill days. And then they can be there for certain processes of it, and then a little bit like what they're doing for imported beef, like on a risk level. So you may not have to have the inspector there 24/7. So we'll see. That's to be determined. But kind of things that I hope open up more opportunities for consumers to buy local beef.
And I would love to be fully Nevada. Like I said, I do love tires, but how cool would it be to do start to finish? Our jerky is produced in Nevada. Well, we raise the beef, and then there's a facility in Carson. Our hot dogs, same thing, all in Nevada, and we love that. We love to support other Nevada companies. To have a processor in Nevada, not only would it cut down on travel time for our beef, but it would also open that income, and
it would keep the money in our community.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like too, one thing that you're not going to see from Tyson or these other companies are supporting your kids' soccer games or basketball games or the local FFA chapter. That's what's so neat about the local community. There are packers that do it, but they're not those big like Tyson. We're not ever going to see Tyson come into Culver Valley or Wells, Nevada and say, hey, let's sponsor the school system to have. But we could see, if the Devil's Gate packer does end up opening, I'm sure that they would, donate to that or to good causes around. And that's important too.
I think that's important. I think just another thing that what drives home that what you're doing is so important is food security.
Yes.
Food security is top of my priority list. And so like as we're getting information, I try and keep that as pretty much the goal that I'm aiming towards. And when I'm developing my beliefs on these things is because I want our country to be secure. And one of those things is if one of these packers goes down, that's maybe 20% of our food supply right there.
Right.
So if we could spread it out a little bit, I think that would give us a better opportunity to have that food security.
Yes, and I've seen that again, that shift has come since after COVID, because we saw that. We saw the food security. A lot of things were not on our shelves anymore because they were imported or...
It's a real eye-opener, right?
And so I have seen wonderful company, another packer come in, and they're all rancher owned. And that's way impressive to me because no one else, and the ranchers themselves bring the beef in. They're required to bring so many head for their share of the company. And so not only are they getting integrated into that process, but then you know that, hey, these people care about...
they have skin in the game. From start to finish, you know, they want their product to be good, and if they get paid for it, like that's what we want, right? Like they need to have sustainability. And that's the problem we've been seeing is there hasn't been sustainability in like cow-calf in the rancher section of it. And so, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out in these next couple of years.
It will. And I agree with you too on the point that I think more and more we're going to see people going back to how it was when our grandparents or great-grandparents were around, where you have that relationship with the butcher or the producer. You have that relationship with the people who are growing your food and producing it. And we need that because there's so many... Even in my own family, I love them to pieces, but I have a nephew that just cannot believe that beef comes from cows or milk, and just thinks things are so mean and rude, and you know, to do these things. And I just think you're just one generation removed, and here you are not knowing
how any of that works. You would think, like, not to be mean and go down too far of a rabbit hole, but our curriculum. You would think your food supply should be top of the curriculum there. This is like how you live.
Even in rural schools, they don't have that. And I guess that's, you know, we are seeing a decline in school rates and increase in homeschool, and maybe these families that are homeschooling will take that opportunity to teach their kids, you know, this is where your food comes, and we need these people, because it is important. Like, if all of our food came from China or from outsourced, what happens if a war starts? What happens if the ports close down? We're not going to see, you know, or a strike. We saw that not too long ago with the strike and people not being able to get foods and things like that.
And so I just worry, like I said, food security. I love being an American and I love being free, and I think that would be one way to really lose it. You lose your freedom really quick if we're outsourcing our food.
Yes, and having to depend on what's given to us, and there goes your opportunity to choose what you get. And,
absolutely. Having control over what you're eating, and saying and how it's raised, you know, because that's something we're seeing with the imports. I'm not necessarily anti-import, but I am if it's at the expense of the American rancher. So
I think ranching, Americans should come first. You know, we should have the higher prices. We should, how do I say this? Right now we are up, even though we are down from just a couple weeks ago in the cattle prices. But that's the first time in a long time that American ranchers have felt good about their cattle prices.
Oh, absolutely.
And that should be all the time. And that doesn't matter if it's cattle or corn or barley or alfalfa. Those things should be sourced first from America, and then whatever we need to maybe to make up for our lack, because the farmlands are decreasing. We're seeing that it's 1% of the population that are farmer and ranchers, and of that 1%, like, we're producing so much food, but there's going to become a time when an animal can't grow as fast as we want it to, or produce as much as beef as we want it, or that nutrition value inside of those products could possibly decrease if, you know, productions change too much and that increase. And so I think it's important that we do put the American farmer and rancher first.
I want sustainability. I have 2 little boys. I want, if they want this, to have that opportunity to continue to do what we're doing.
And it's a good lifestyle. It's not meant for everyone, but there's not many professions where a dad can take their kids out and be home for lunch and dinner and
then take them to work with them sometimes.
Right.
So that's really fun. And the skills that you pick up along the way. My little boy started the four-wheeler. I don't know that it's a good thing, but like...
Well, it started. You're in for trouble now.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, but that's life skills that he's going to have. We've had people come work with us and like they get to learn how to run equipment, go into ranching. Now they have a skill that they can take on to somewhere else.
So Jordan and I say Jordan and I, really it was Jordan attended TCU Ranch Management Program down in at Texas Christian University. I guess I already said that. And I went to get a job at a vet clinic as a vet tech. And he asked me my background, and I said I was raised on a farm, and he gave me the job on the spot because he knew not only was he getting someone who could work hard, but that I had a lot of different skill sets. Yeah. And that's one thing when people ask about, oh, you're a rancher, but that doesn't just mean you're a rancher. That means you're an engineer, you're a welder, you're a doctor, you're
a problem solver.
Yes, there's so many that fall under that ranching title because you have to do it all. And our kids, you know, we're so lucky because they're going to be able to take that same skill set and mostly that they're willing to work and get the job done and be able to get some of those great jobs.
I think so. And whether they go to college or not, like at least they have something to kind of carry on with. Well, Kari, thank you so much for coming out here with us today. It was so great to get to talk to you, kind of hear your perspective on things, especially because you are kind of in a niche market a little bit and not a lot of people are doing wing. And so it's just really cool to kind of hear like barriers that you've had and things that you've overcome and just your product that you have for sale. So thank you very much.
Inviting us, it was our pleasure to come and be part of this.
Yeah, thank you.